The night sky over Eastern Europe and the Middle East. It is growing more dangerous every single hour. Missiles, drones, helicopters, and a global power politics all moving at once. You're watching TimesXP. It's me, Driti Atri, and what is unfolding right now? It is not just one conflict. It is multiple flashpoints slowly emerging into one global political storm. Now let's begin with Russia here, a country already locked in a brutal war in Ukraine, is now making a move that is raising the eyebrows across Washington, Tel Aviv, and NATO headquarters. Reports suggest Russia is strengthening Iran's military capability by backing Tehran's defense upgrades, including their advanced combat aviation support. And wait, at the center of all of the discussion, it is Mi-28 Night Hunter. Let's pause here. What exactly is this Mi-28 Night Hunter? Well, it is not just a helicopter if you are living any delusion. It is designed as a tank-destroying flying weapon. It can operate in total darkness, it can survive heavy battlefield fire, and it can strike armor targets, in fact bunkers, troop formation with devastating precision. The Mi-28 is built for one purpose, and that is battlefield dominance. It carries guided anti-tank missiles, also heavy cannons, in fact advanced night vision and radar system. Basically, in simple words, it allows armies to attack even when enemies think that they are safe under the cover of darkness. And you know what? This is why the timing matters here, because Iran is currently facing massive pressure from the United States and Israel. Washington has increased military deployments in the Gulf. Israel continues to monitor Iran's missile and nuclear activity very closely. Well, if Iran strengthens its attack helicopter fleet, it could significantly change the regional battlefield dynamics. Here, Iran's calculation, it appears strategic. Moscow is under heavy Western sanctions. Its traditional defense buyers, it has shrunk. So, Russia is looking towards the Middle East and Asia to expand armed partnership. Iran becomes a natural partner here. Well, both the nations, they share strained relationships, right, with Washington, but both are under Western economic pressure and both benefit from military cooperation here. But while this geopolitical chess game, it unfolds, another war zone is exploding. This time in Ukraine, overnight, Kyiv witnessed one of the most intense aerial assaults in recent weeks. Well, residents were woken by sirens. Then came the sound no city wants to hear: multiple missile impacts. Ukrainian officials say that Russia launched a combination of advanced weapons, including the hypersonic missiles, Iskander ballistic missiles, long-range drone swarms also. These weapons targeted energy infrastructure and civilian neighborhoods. But you know why this energy facilities? Because modern wars are no longer just about territory. They are about survival. Destroy power plants, an entire city, it freezes. Shut down their electricity and hospitals stop functioning, break their communication. And national defense cooperation, it collapses. Ukraine is specifically vulnerable right now. Winter conditions make electricity and heating absolutely crucial. Officials warn that these strikes, they could trigger large-scale blackouts, leaving millions exposed to freezing temperature, and the human cost, that is rising too. Several civilians were injured in the latest strike here. Massive fires broke out across targeted areas. In fact, emergency crews worked through the night to rescue trapped residents. Now, this escalation comes after an even more disturbing incident. In fact, just days earlier, a strike hit a maternity hospital in southern Ukraine. That attack shocked global audience and intensified calls for accountability as well. And wait, here's where the story becomes even more complicated. Now, these fresh missile strikes happened just days before planned peace talks. Talks reportedly brokered by the US involvement, scheduled to take place in Abu Dhabi. Ukraine claims that Russia had promised to reduce the attacks during extreme winter conditions, a so-called cold weather ceasefire. But Kyiv now says Moscow ignored that promise completely, which, by the way, raises a critical question here. Are peace negotiations genuine or simply strategic pause between offensives? Now, for Russia, battlefield leverage, it often shapes the negotiation strength here. For Ukraine, every missile strike, it weakens infrastructure and civilian morale. Well, for the global diplomats, each new explosion makes peace harder to achieve here. And now connect the dots. Russia increases defense cooperations with Iran. Russia intensifies missile warfare in Ukraine. The US simultaneously increasing missile readiness in the Middle East. This is not coincidence. This is strategic positioning across multiple theaters. If Russia strengthens Iran's military, it indirectly challenges the US influence in the Gulf. It complicates Israel's security calculation and it strengthens a growing bloc of nations, reinsisting the Western pressure. And in the meantime, Ukraine remains the primary battlefield between NATO-backed forces and Russian military ambitions. Each strike launched over Kyiv, it sends a signal far beyond Eastern Europe. In the end, it tells allies and adversaries alike that war is far from over. And in fact, the entire world is watching closely because history shows that regional conflicts can quickly transform into global confrontations.